is Yushibu no Commando, which means God is God is in control. Only God. And I just trust. I trust in God.
We were going to talk about this.
Yeah.
Remember, surrender. This is one of the topics I want to talk about. Yeah, it just came out now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's it. It's like, that's their practice, and what comes is what comes, and they'll just meet it from joy. And so in that is surrendering, and that's how the way I sort of have learned from that is that's power. You let go of control and you step into what's inherent in each of us is power. And that's kind of like empowerment's kind of like, what I call like an authentic desire. It's a feeling that's inherent inside all of us. The first one is peace, and out of peace emerges freedom, and then empowerment comes, and that you act from that place. And that's that kind of transition of we were talking about earlier of, there's the outside world telling us who to be and what to do, and then eventually we find that within ourselves, or we find that empowerment, and then we start to create our own life for ourselves. And that's that practice is to do that. You have to keep letting go of control, because the control thing's an illusion anyway. And that's what we're seeing right now with coronavirus, is how actually we don't have control. This is what we're doing. We think we have control, but like suddenly, 3 weeks into coronavirus, we don't have any. No one's got any control.
There's this, like Jordan Hall and John Vervaeke, they're talking about this, and they really said something really that stayed with me. It's that it's really all about the right relationship with reality. So you don't want to try to, there's this movement of trying to impose your will on reality. This is like the Protestant, the Martin Luther thing with the will to power. But then there's the fatalistic side where we're powerless with this. But it's the kind of thing where this is reality. They talked about, in Taoist, the Wu Wei. You still do something, but it's with the flow of the real. When you're carving wood, you're still carving it, but you're carving following the grain. You're not going against the grain. It's not like I'm totally just helpless, because I see a lot of that. Like, if I just, the secret kind of mentality. If I just think it, no, you still need to do something. You still need to sit. You still need to plan.
You still need to take action.
But at the same time, but action in such a way that's still closely in dynamic relationship to what's happening. And I guess, if we link it to evolution, things are moving so fast, and we need to evolve as fast as things are changing. So it's okay to change our minds. And like in our meditation school, I still remember the idea of soul flexibility, And so surrender, in a way, it's being under the real, It's like you're bearing it, like bearing the weight of our desire. Can you bear the weight of your desire? All these things are linking. It's quite interesting.
I think it's like, in surrendering, what happens is you start to listen more closely and feel a lot more deeply. And then you're in connection with yourself, and then through being in connection with yourself, you can connect to the world around you. And you're in connection with what is real, what it actually is. And like an example of that is, like, in my mind, I'm thinking about what's happening in the world. But when I connect to what's happening right now, I'm sitting here in a room. It's very quiet. My friend's on a conversation outside, and I'm talking to you. That's it. What's real. That's the only way I can relate to the world. Right now. And that's how I can influence my reality, my experience, is only through this.
Mm.
And that changes everything, because now I'm, now I'm actually in my experience.
Yeah.
And now I can sort of work with that.
Yeah.
To go back to your analogy of like carving something with the wood, actually, the way we do things is, the tool and the piece of wood is actually on the table, and we just have this idea of what we want it to be. We haven't even actually picked it up yet. And the picking it up of it is actually being present and connected with it. And then the listening and the action is like, then you can actually do something with it.
Yeah, that's true. I learned that the hard way in when I did product design. Until you actually meet the material, you can have the best idea on paper, but when you're actually making it, that's when it's actually teaching you. The material teaches you. I think that's how incarnation works. It's teaching us.
Totally. Yeah. Experience is
like
teaching.
The wrestling,
totally.
The wrestling with the limitation is what makes us better.
Yeah. Totally.
That's
totally, and that's totally. And that's what the Stoics always talk about. That the adversity is the teacher. That's the way to sort of change life and get life better is to meet the adversity that's there. That's the reality of what is, and then work with that.
And I just had another thought that I would link to the surrender piece. So you remember Nicole Daydon, and when we were doing the coaching school, she's always starts coaching someone with approval. And at first I never got that.
Yeah.
Why approve always? Like, can't you see this person is totally broken? Why start with approval? Clear. But then I understand, because if you don't have approval, then you're denying reality. If that's the reality, then if you're denying that, if you want to change that, you still first see it. You can't see it if you not approve of it.
Yeah.
So it's like
exactly. Yeah.
If my power is attention, then my attention should be on what's there. I have to approve what's in front of me, even though it's broken, whatever. But if I think about what's not there, which is the perfect one or the better one than what's in front of me, then I've already lost my connection to. Yeah, I only got it now.
And if you're not in approval of that, then you're in resistance to it.
Yeah. It's like going against the grain again.
So nothing can emerge. Because what happens, and then so what's beautiful about giving people approval is they're not ready always to give approval to themselves.
Right, yeah.
So people are still in that seeking approval from the outside world phase.
Yeah.
And then eventually, what I found really powerful was, in my own practice. So like working with her teachings around, approval in relationships and that dynamic. But then applying that to like approval of what I was feeling.
Yeah.
Suddenly like that changed everything.
Yeah.
All the resistance actually started melting.
Yeah. Oh,
that was a really powerful concept.
Yeah.
Because we talk a lot about being an acceptance of what's happening. In our meditation school, it was like just feel it and just open.
Let it come, let it go,
and let it open. But approval is like a really nice word because it's just very active and very positive. To me, more so than just being accepting what's there. Like approval is kind of like, yes, this is my experience, and I'm gonna feel it.
So it's like you're not acquiescing; you're actually more active. It's like I'm gonna take this even though I don't want it. No, but I like when you said that. So you approving of what's the other, but there's also the approving of my reaction to the other.
Yeah,
but like if I'm pissed off, that's also okay.
Totally. Totally. But then we want to like see what emerges from that, because I can approve of being angry and then I can be angry. But then something wants to emerge from that, and actually, like Osho talks about this as well. He talks about in terms of if you're bringing awareness into what you're feeling, you'll notice that it starts to change.
Yeah.
And approval helps that, but then you have to look for the thing that emerges. Otherwise, you know, you're going to kind of go around in circles, and you might not
Yeah,
notice
it's
the
like
thing that's
the
emerging, that's coming in, you know, because awareness has to keep going.
it's like the
And
flow.
that's, yeah, and that's how I discovered authentic desire, because what emerged always out of my experience and what I was feeling through awareness, connecting and being in approval was always peace. Still, like, you know, that's stillness, you know, and sometimes that's the stillness of spiritual connection. Sometimes that's just our own inner peace. And that's when I realized that's what all the big teaching of Buddha and Jesus, and that's what they're all saying, is like peace is within.
Yeah.
And it's so like it is, it doesn't matter what's happening outside. You just have to come back to you, and, you know, adversity is impacting you. But it's always asking you that question of like, can you feel peace right now, even though the world is going to shit?
Yeah, where are you? And then this is where the training with the device, it's so simple.
Yeah.
It's gold. It's such a gold training. Like,
yeah.
It's,
and so
I'm
that's
here. Everything's, I'm still there. Yeah.
But, you know, but we're also, you know, there's awareness, and then there's the feeling sort of experience as well. And, you know, that's kind of, unless we feel, we don't open.
Yeah.
And it's like the bandwidth of what we're able to feel stays very narrow.